Welcome, everyone, to ITD Gaming Appetizers. Another world record was broken, and we're not talking in the worldwide area of sports, but we're talking in video games. A sealed copy of Nintendo 64's Mario 64 sold for $1.56 million. We just talked about last week a game selling, Legend of Zelda selling for $870,000. And then earlier this year, we had Super Mario Brothers for $660,000. Wow, who has $1.56 million to spend on an unopened copy of Super Mario 64? You know, not me. I'm a little bit torn on hearing this news, but I'm also a little bit hesitant to say that it's legit because knowing what I've read about the Heritage Auctions Company, I may not know if this is legit or kosher, but we'll kind of get into a little bit of that. Nick, what do you think about this rapid succession of video games ramping up in their value? I mean, we've had 3 records broken this year alone for video within the last 12 months of video game sales. Like I said, 660,000, 870,000, and then we almost doubled it to $1.56 million. What do you think? What do you think about this?
I don't know. I feel like there's some shenanigans going on here. I love Super Mario 64, but 1.5 million, I mean, that's just someone waiting to burn. I mean, that's just somebody with money in their pocket to burn, you know? I mean, regardless of how great the sealed copy might be, I mean, that's a lot of money to put into just a game that you're going to sit on your shelf. And, you know, even the Zelda one that was 870,000, we were kind of a little suspicious about. I mean, that's a lot of money for a sealed copy of a game. It looked pretty good. I mean, they had pictures of the copy, and it looked pretty good. It had a couple dents in it, but it wasn't too bad. But still, I mean, what are you going to do with that? You're just going to sit it on your shelf and then what? Turn around and sell it again 10 years later and hope to get the same amount or more for it? So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just seems a little suspicious. 1.5 million for Super Mario 64. It's a great game, but you know, it's not as old as Zelda, right? You would think Zelda would sell for a lot more than that Super Mario 64 copy. I mean, because you could still find, I mean, granted, you could still find Zelda and you can still find Super Mario. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like you could find more Super Mario 64 sealed copies out there than you can the original Zelda NES sealed copies out there. I'm not sure. I don't know the statistics, so I might be wrong about that. But being that Super Mario 64 is a lot newer, you know, that's 2 generations further than the Zelda copy. You would think you would find more of those sealed than the original Zelda. So the original Zelda would go for quite a lot more than Super Mario 64. I mean, I could see for 1.5 million, maybe an original copy of this Super Mario Brothers going for that much. You know, a really nice sealed copy of that. But 64, I mean, it's a great game, but I mean, it's not one that you can't find nowadays. I mean, I guess both of them you can't find, or necessarily cannot not find, but still, it just seems a little suspicious, a little shenanigans going on there. Yeah, and I know you had some information about the auction, the Heritage Auction Company. What information have you found, or what can you tell us about that?
So, like basically, I'll just, before we go into that, they rated that WATA gave it a 9.8 rating and then an A++ sealed. So that basically means it's like perfect, as perfect as you can get. I'm pretty speechless at the price this sold as well. But I was all kind of like a little suspicious of it at first, and I didn't know any of the history of the Heritage Auctions before, but I was just like, really? We just saw a game last week sell for 860,000 new in box. Now, it wasn't an A++. I believe it was only an A rating on the packaging, and you could see some ding. But it was, as Nick said, a much older game. And rightfully so, you know. But I kind of did some digging and looking around, and I came across multiple YouTubers and stuff like that had dug up information on Heritage Auctions, had shady dealings in the past where they had employees bid on auctions and like basically racketeering style things where they were doing shady tactics to drive the cost of things up. And now I don't know if that's what's happened here. This is all just me speculating. But Rich over at Review Tech did an amazing review. He even found news articles and everything, because it seems like a lot of the news articles are scraped from the internet, because I tried to find some and couldn't find the news articles from their indictments and court cases and all that stuff. But if you want actually a really in-depth, Rich over at Review Tech, he read it line for line, read the indictment papers, read the news articles. So if you want like that in depth, I would go check him out. But from what I understand, Heritage Auctions has been involved in some shady tactics in the past. And I think they're on a roll. I mean, all this does whenever we have a new record set for a video game purchase is it gives these guys frontline view. It basically brings them back front and center. Everybody's like, what does Heritage Auctions do? Oh, I can sell stuff through them. So it brings in more business for them. So I wouldn't put it past a company to do shady dealings to bring that in. Maybe it's not true. Maybe somebody really did buy this for 1.56 million, but I'm having a hard time believing that myself. I mean, we're in a time when the majority of American households are hurting because of COVID. They don't have steady jobs. You know, people are sick. They can't work. Just so many things are going on, but yet somebody has $1.56 million to throw around on a sealed copy of a video game, and all they get to do is look at it. Now, there's rich people all the time, regardless of whether we're in a pandemic or crunch or crisis of some kind. There's always people out there that have an ass ton of money. But I just don't understand this. I mean, even as a collector, I'm not a collector. I want to play with everything. So if I want to buy a copy of Mario 64, I want to play it. I don't want to put it on a box. That's just me. I'm not that type of collector. I would like to have it in my collection, but not just to look at and say, ooh, pretty, and not touch it. You know, you got to pull out the white gloves when you want to touch the case and be like, ooh, I'm not going to show, you know? But so I don't have a view. I can't see this from that person's viewpoint. I just can't. It's so far outside my means of understanding how you can blow $1.5 million on a game that, you know, but I guess if you're a billionaire, $1.56 million is like throwing away a dollar bill, I guess, you know. Let me put that dollar bill in the candy machine and get a Snickers bar. You know, for them, they're like, let me put this $1.50 in this candy machine and get a copy of Mario 64 out, you know. Nick, have you read or heard anything about what Heritage Auctions did in the past? It sounds like they were really shady in the past and got indicted a few times and things.
I haven't personally, no, but yeah, I mean, from what you've told me, and you know, and different stuff like that, I mean, it makes sense. You know, I mean, you think about it in the last, like, I mean, these types of auctions, typically, when we've seen things like this in the past, it's usually several months between them, right? And this one was fairly, like, it was like a week later, almost, it felt like, that we had this one selling for, you know, 1.2 or 1.5 million. And that just seems weird. I mean, a 98's really high score, and an A++ is, you know, a super mint condition, you know, almost 100. So, I mean, that's pretty nice. But again, I mean, like, I don't know. I'm like you, Patrick. I like to collect games. I have a lot of games. You know, I am a collector, but I like to play the games I collect, right? I don't keep them wrapped up in a box and just there to ogle at them, you know, from time to time, and put on the white gloves so I can take a look at the front and the back and then put it back where it was. I like to pop them in and play them, you know.